So this problem, this challenge number 10, is basically asking us to input how many letters are in the alphabet. And we're going to check to see whether what they type in is the correct answer, so 26, or if it isn't, we're going to output something else. So this bit is the first kind of time where you need to think about what outputs you're going to type in, just some sort of sensible output to the user. So let's start off with the basics. What are our inputs again? It's saying the number of letters in the alphabet. So there's a number of different ways that we can do this. By this stage, you should realize or recognize that there's different methods of doing the same, different methods of solving the same problem. So the first thing we could do is we could create a constant and set it as 26, and then we could check it against that particular constant. Or we can remove that complete line of code and we can do it within the program instead. So let's start with an input. We could put guess equals input. And we just need to write some sort of sensible message to the user. So how many letters are in the alphabet? Question mark. Now, it's saying we need to do two particular things, and it's given us a little bit of a clue here where it says if else, so we know that we need to use those two particular pieces of code. So if guess double equals, because we want to say is the same as or is equal to 26, and we need to put that as it is at the moment as a string. And the reason for that is because by default, anything that they type in as a user, so anything they type in for this input, is a string by default. The other way that you could do it, which is probably good practice, is if we change what they type in to an integer, and then we can check whether it is an integer on this particular part. So now what it's going to do is it's taking your input, converting it into an integer. So it's changing your string that you type in, changing it into an integer. And now when we check to see if guess is equal to, we're checking to see if it's equal to a number. Then we need to say what the condition, so what actually happens based on this condition. So we're going to output, and this is where you need to create something sensible to say to the user. Well done. You've guessed correctly. And then the other option for the condition. Now, I often see people doing things like else guess equals or not equals 26 and things like that. You don't need to do that. You just need to say else. And this means that if guess is equal to 26, we're going to do this. If it's anything other than 26, it's going to do whatever we tell it to here. So I'm going to put you don't know your alphabet. So that is our basic program that will work, and it'll do exactly what you want it to do. Let me just show you this working, and then we'll try changing it around a little bit. This is challenge 10. And now we're going to run this program. So how many letters are in the alphabet? 26. Well done, you've guessed correctly. If we run the program again, 10. You don't know your alphabet. So we know that that's working. So let's just try a few different options here. I'll show you the first way, which is if we're going to check 26. Now what will happen is I'll type in 26 and it'll say you don't know your alphabet. Now the reason why it's done that is because it's checking what I've typed in as a string, and what it's doing is it's converting it to an integer. So what I've typed in is now a number, and when we're checking to see whether it's equal to 26, it's checking to see if it's a string. So it's checking an integer versus a string, which is why it's not working. If I remove the integer part and do the same thing, 26. Well done, you've guessed correctly. So now that's fixed it. So you should be able to understand now a little bit more about the data type that I've used. This way is just a string, and this way is a string as well. The problem with that is you can't do anything like greater than. If I put greater than 26 instead, and then type in like 65, I didn't think that was going to work. Maybe it does, but it's good practice if you change it into an integer first, because using integers and floats, we can do proper comparisons. We can see whether it's greater than, equal to. We can add numbers together, we can subtract them. So I think that is a more efficient way of doing it. And the last way that I want to show you is if we use a variable or a constant. So if I say if guess equals to alphabet, and we set what we want alphabet to be at the top, again, you can do this two different ways. So we've got string at the moment, type in 26 and it works. If I change alphabet to a number or an integer, then I need to make sure that this is also an integer. So the key is whatever comparison that we're doing, they need to be the same data type. Okay, that is challenge 10. Just show this one more time to make sure it works. Let's get it wrong. 23. You don't know your alphabets. There we go. So that's challenge 10 completed.